Question 5 again is a diagram based question. It gives us an experimental setup to study a particular process. Don't read the rest of the question. Look at it. You've got a covered potted plant and you've got water drops. Immediately you should know we are testing transpiration, right? Let's look at the question. Name the process being studied. Simple. They're just asking you to name it. So, transpiration. Question 2. Explain the shown process. Okay. So, you mention what this transpiration is. So, you say transpiration is a process in which excess water is given out by the plant in the form of water vapor through the aerial parts of the plant. Such as the stomata, the lenticels, and the cuticle. Okay, now that's a complete explanation. Question 3. Why is the pot covered with plastic? Okay, so the pot is covered with plastic. You know why, right? To ensure that water from the soil does not escape out. Into the bell jar. Otherwise, those droplets would not be from the plant, it would be from the soil. That's why the pot is covered with plastic. Let's move on to the 4th question. It says, mention one way in which this process is beneficial to the plant. Transpiration is beneficial in many ways. Transpiration helps in providing a cooling effect to the plant. Much as perspiration does for us. You could also mention that it creates a suction force called a transpiration pull, which helps to pull water as well as minerals inside. You could choose any one of those, yeah? Number 5. Suggest a suitable control for the experiment. Now, in order to know how to suggest a suitable control, you need to know what a control is. Basically, a control, if you remember, is an experimental setup where you have all other conditions the same as your experimental setup, except that whatever it is that you're testing, that one object should be absent. So if you're testing to see that sunlight is required for photosynthesis, in your experimental setup, of course, you'll block off the sunlight. So your control will be where you won't block off the sunlight. So you're using it to compare. So here, to use it to compare, what would the control have? Basically the same setup without the plant. So a suitable control would be a bell jar placed under the same conditions. That's important. The conditions should be the same, but without a plant in it. Alternatively, you could have put a plain covered pot without the plant, but it comes to the same thing. We okay with this? Let's move on to the next part of